Hey guys, Rohan here again, bringing you the Rock Brigade discography review for Def Leppard. We've already gone through the Def Leppard EP, On Through the Night, High and Dry, and the question which we left off with was, where would Leppard really go after the High and Dry album, and how big a statement were they going to make? Would they achieve the kind of global fortune they were looking for in many ways, and would they actually achieve the kind of stardom that they were really seeking? And the answer to that is an absolute yes. What followed is considered to be one of the best albums ever made. It really changed things and it really impacted, so many bands on so many levels, more than anyone is in fact willing to admit. I mean, even if you look at things like thrash metal, heavy metal, or any of the hardest stuff, I mean, even those guys say that this album really, what followed High and Dry, was the big one that really changed things. Now, before anyone says that, okay, fine, how can you say that you don't know a thing about heavy metal? Well, I'll just tell you this, that I adore heavy metal. I just love thrash metal, Megadeth, Metallica, Judas Priest, Iron Maiden, Pantera, Slayer, all these guys. I mean, all these guys are regularly playing in my iPod. I just adore these guys. And a lot of them at different points have said that Leopard has had an influence, especially the first three albums which they put out. So, what is this album? Well, this album is this, Pyromania. And as you can see, it has a really cool cover. It actually shows a viewfinder from a sniper or a bazooka of some sort, and actually flashes onto this building, which is actually set on fire in many ways. And this was actually, for those fans who might be aware, for those who are not, this actually was the first of what was unofficially called as the IA series. Yeah, so Pyromania, Hysteria, and what later followed many years later, which was Euphoria. Leopard at this point had no intention of, naming or having a name trilogy of sorts, but that was actually something which happened quite by accident only after the Hysteria album, which followed this one. Pyromania is huge. It is an album that speaks volumes of not just the time when it came out, which is 1983. It speaks volumes even to this day where you could play it live and, people would still love this song. I mean, love the songs on here, love this album. Everything about it is so big on so many levels. So to begin with, this was an album which actually featured finally new guitarist Phil Collen. Pete Willis is still credited for a lot of background work, background riffs, songwriting, and so on, but High and Dry was really his last. He left kind of midway through the production of this album and was replaced by Phil Collen, who came in, laid on some new guitar solos, reworked things, and was already a friend of the band for many years since 1980, before, if I'm not wrong, before the On Through the Night album actually was released. So he was finally in the band. The band members were set. This is in fact considered by many to be the classic lineup. This was the lineup that really changed things on a musical front for Def Leppard for so many people. This is the most adored lineup ever. Um, Coming to the songs themselves, it is Leopard has always had a knack of having these good songs that really open up the album, and it's no less over here. What you have is a song which is like Rock Rock Till You Drop, and which was actually called Medicine Man before, but it was reworked, rechanged, and this song is unbelievable. If anytime you hear it live in a concert, you just can't help but like jump around and just like go ballistic. It's a song that would be very much reminiscent of Metallica's Enter Sandman, Megadeth Holy Wars, or even Black Sabbath's Paranoid, or even other like things like even Bon Jovi, who is considered to be a band that is very similar in sound and style to Def Leppard, like Bad Medicine or something like that. This is a song which you could really say gave inspiration to many rock bands that became famous. This is a song that really tore things apart as for what people could really see and view as a great rock anthem. It's awesome. The next song, which was Photograph, was a song written about Marilyn Monroe, and this riff is one of the most recognizable riffs in music, even till today. People just love this track. It is so popular. MTV had come out at this point in 1983 in a big way. It really popularized the video. Leopard sold millions with this album. But Joe said that, funny enough, with this album, it didn't really receive so much attention in Europe and in England, which really disappointed them, especially in their home country. But it really did wonders for them globally, be it North America, even South America, in Asia, lots of parts around the world. It really did that well. And you can see how Mutt has actually groomed these guys to really give not just their best, but even beyond what they thought was possible. The next song, Stage Fright, was actually a song kind of written about Pete Willis himself, about the fact that, his drinking problem was so big and the fact that he was just not able to function as a regular player and member of the band at this point. So this song was kind of loosely based around him. Just like Rocks Off has this kind of audience sound, gives you this feeling that you're in an arena of sorts. And but interesting nonetheless. It took me a while to get into this track, but I kind of quite like it right now in many ways. Next song, which was there, which was Too Late for Love, is again kind of in the vein of Sorrow's a Woman, bringing on the heartbreak. Not exactly your traditional ballad, but a very eerie, kind of dark feel to this song. You could almost say it's like, I would in fact rate this as kind of like the dark track of the album, but it is a brilliant track. Definitely something, that really grabs you from the word go. The next song is what really became part of what they would call the epic songs, or the big songs which were on the album, which is Die Hard Hunter. So you have Overture from On Through the Night, you have the song On Through the Night from High and Dry, and you have Overture, and then you had other songs which followed after this. And this song, it was all about war. It's all about, how, from a soldier's standpoint, of all the things that he's going through, and, how he's dealing with the situation. It's got so many musical elements wrapped into it. It's also got a similar siren sound, which is even found on War Pigs from Black Sabbath. So it's strange because a lot of guys might say, well, we've never really heard Leopard actually talk about a Black Sabbath influence. Yes, we've heard them talk about Led Zeppelin and Queen and Martha Hopple and the Beatles and so many other things, but I just somehow see that whether consciously or unconsciously, there is a Sabbath influence in any ways. Actually, come to think of it, Joe even has even said, and even Phil, for that matter, has said that, back in the times of the 70s, you just had three bands. You had Led Zeppelin, Deep Purple, and Black Sabbath. So you can definitely see the influence from Purple and Sabbath, coming across in some way. In some way. Fooling is very catchy. I would label it as an extremely catchy track. Has this kind of a similar intro to Too Late for Love. This kind of acoustic feel builds up into this whole crescendo of, solid harmonies and so on. So really a fun track to actually listen to. Then you get into a track which, well, is really a track like Photograph, which is so recognizable, or even Rock Rock Till You Drop, which is Rock of Ages. The first thing grabs you is this funny kind of vocal thing, which is Guten Glied Glatten Globen, which really doesn't mean anything. It's just something that they just put in there for fun. And this song is got groove, it's got style. In fact, I would somehow think it is the kind of an influence which served to the kind of groovy tracks that Leopard put in some way, kind of like what they did with Pour Some Sugar on Me or something like that. It's got an interesting bass tone, which Rick Savage does a brilliant job on. Rick Allen does demonstrate his chops on this track, so it's really, really good. Coming Under Fire is again catchy like Fooling. I would rate this again as a personal favorite. It's got such a melodic chorus, you can just like literally sing along with this, and it still maintains this kind of dark feel that you can find on even in Somewhere Too Late for Love. So I would liken that to be have something similar. The next track, Action Not Words, is just a fun track, really. It's just about, well, maybe it's, you could just say, it's just like a fun track about, having a good time with your girl or something like that, and, recording the whole thing. Well, we just leave it at that. But the thing is that it's just a good feel-good track, not a filler, but just a good track to have in there. And the album concludes with the song, which is Billy's Got a Gun. Billy's Got a Gun, and again has this very dark vibe to it in some ways, but it is epic. I would liken this as being the second epic type track, with Die Hard Hunter, which is on this album. And for those who have it, because I've heard there are two versions of this particular song, which actually ends when the song ends, but there's this kind of bass track that continues playing for a little while, which has got this whoosh sound to it. Is kind of interesting because it shows, how strong Rick Allen was as a drummer, even at that point, being so young, and why he is actually referred to as the Thunder God. So this song for me is really demonstrates why he is the Thunder God on so many levels. Really awesome album. The big hit for Def Leppard that really changed things. But since it took them to such a new height, it really set things on a much higher level as to could they even match this? Could things really change for them, and could they actually top this? things were going to change, all right. What they're going to do it, we'll find out in the next part. But something unfortunate was going to happen in between this album and the next one, which we're going to discuss in the next part of this series. So stay tuned till then.